Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Mowing After Dark. We know it's a wild world out there, but we just want to take this hour to talk college football realignment, EA College Football 25, random tweets sent on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and all that good stuff. So I want to thank those who could join me tonight. Appreciate it. Let's say hello to some of the people that already came in. Buckshot Kid is in the house. Ryan Willie, the Evil Badger, is here. Stormy Cyclone is here. And he actually did this at 3:07. Internet going wild with expansion talk. Timothy Green is here. Get ready for another great show. We're going to do our best. Joaquin Morales is here, reminding people to smash that like button. Yes, please do. It is free, doesn't cost you anything, releases endorphins, makes you feel good. Ryan Willie says less than 24 hours until EA College Football 25 is playable. Yes, that goes live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. I'm going to be streaming some gameplay on our Twitch channel. I tried to figure out how to do it on YouTube, and it's just the loss of quality is astounding the way I was trying to do it. So I don't have a capture card, so I can stream directly from my Xbox to Twitch, so I will be doing that on Twitch. I will send out a tweet out there, but our name on Twitch is CFB Mafia. Twitch.tv/CFB Mafia. Nathan Campbell says, hi guys, good to see you, Nathan Campbell. Antoine Code says, hello everyone. Rock and Rant, did you see the article from Sebastian Abernathy?
I did not, or I didn't see it and know who Sebastian Abernathy was. So if you want to send it to us on Twitter, we can take a look at it, or comment in the comments and fill us in a little bit.
Nathan Campbell says, Mo, and I think the new TV partner for the Big 12 is Amazon, WB, and TNT. Well, WB and TNT are the same company. They're both Warner Brothers Discovery. So, but I think if they add a new TV partner, they have to add more inventory, which means they have to add more teams. So, Daniel Gygax, I take it Jason Shear's tweet will be a topic tonight. I'm not buying it. Let's cut right to the quick here, as they say, and talk about this. Jason Shear said, it is the internal belief of the Big 12 that they're going to land Florida State and Clemson within the next year. I will add that it's my internal belief that I'm going to nail Selena Gomez within the next year. Internal beliefs are a funny thing. I clearly think that Jason Shear is probably being told this, and Florida State and Clemson are probably loving that that's out there, because I think this is clearly Florida State and Clemson trying to play the Big 12 against the Big 10 and the SEC. What do you think, Rock?
I think, as we've talked about before, that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. There's a lot of negotiating through conduits. Would it completely shock me if it played out that way? No. If you gave me $100 of my money or Moen's money to bet on it, I still wouldn't be there. Like, for me, it's just more the entertainment value of the entire realignment mess. It's one man's popcorn in this case is somebody else's tears. That's with a little graphic behind me. So for me, it's just like eating popcorn and watching everybody freak out over what may or may not be anything substantively changing, other than rumor mill going amok.
Right. And just for context, it's been the internal belief of the Big Ten for the past 8 decades that Notre Dame is going to become a member. So far, that has not happened. So just be real careful when it comes to internal beliefs. That doesn't make it so. Internal beliefs do not make a conference member.
Yeah, there's an internal belief that one day I was going to not just work for a music company, but I was going to be on stage in a freaking arena. That never happened either.
Okay, well, there you go. That's quite an internal belief. I think mine might be more likely. Do you play an instrument?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you weren't going to be, a streamer or something.
I didn't just my instrument isn't like turning the volume up on the phone.
Yeah. So, we talked a little bit earlier today. Are you a PlayStation guy or an Xbox guy?
I've been both in the past, and I've been dormant on either. So I'm sort of, now that we have an idea that the game isn't cross-platform initially, I'm basically surveying people that I would like to theoretically play and kind of go where everyone's going, because I'm ambivalent about it. And platform agnostic, I guess, is the way to put it.
Platform agnostic. Yeah, I'm an Xbox guy. I've got it preloaded, pre-downloaded. I'm going to check it again tonight at midnight to make sure that there's that we haven't got any day one patches. Sheer is legit, unlike Canzano. Keep this in mind. I'm sure it's legit. The Big 12 probably does have that internal belief. Yeah, I'm not arguing that point. I'm arguing the point that internal belief doesn't make a conference member.
Yeah, I think people, one, if you haven't, you should go back and look at Bomber's interview with John, and he kind of goes through all of the moments where people maybe had that suspicion about John. But I think people do this mistake with media types, whether they're social media people or true media. Just because they get something wrong doesn't mean what they told you wasn't what they heard from sources that they have a reason to trust the time that they hear it, right? And sometimes that doesn't pan out, but if you're looking for any source to have 100% effectiveness rate, then you're going to be awesome and always be able to go on any message board or call-in show and talk about how everybody's wrong.
Illini Ted with a perfect salient point here. Jason Scheer is being told, but so is John Canzano. Sources have agendas too. I mean, this works out well for the Big 12. It gives them the appearance of a big boy conference. That, hey, we're going to land Clemson and Florida State. Works well for Florida State and Clemson. Lets them play off that, well, we've got a slot in the Big 12 if things don't work out with unequal revenue share. So I think it works out for everybody to leak this. So
yeah, it works out for all of us. We're just talking about it 5 minutes into the show. We weren't thinking about talking about it before, and half of you have already posted about it, right? So as much as we can sit there and question it, it's just part of the fodder around all of the realignment porn, so to speak, as patented by others.
Jason Scheer is going to do a podcast tomorrow to talk about it. I'm sure he will. That'd be a good reason to put that out there. Canzano was struggling. That's a throwback to the old drunk Joe.
If you listen to the interview that Bomber had with Canzano, comment whether
less about the team struggling.
At least he wasn't kissing anyone.
I want to kiss you. I cut that part out.
But you should comment on whether the interview that Bomber did, if you've seen it, gave you a different perspective on what Canzano was going through at the time.
Mowing and Rock and Rant. If you want real information, all I have to do is watch your show. You all do a great job, and there's never no clickbait. What I'm saying is you guys are for real. We try our best. We do speculate. We do sometimes maybe offer a little prophecy, what we think might happen, but we don't ever tell you facts that aren't facts. And I'm not saying that Scheer is doing that. There probably is internal belief that the Big 12 is going to land Florida State and Clemson, because Florida State and Clemson have probably told them that that's the case. So this will leak. I mean, the biggest leak in the Pac-12 deal was the Big 12. We were getting everything leaked from them.
And additionally, they're in the sport. They're in this world of knowing how things play out. And if we all can speculate on who is 1 or 2 for X conference or Y conference and for what reason, they can also have a handle on what they think the sequence of dominoes falling and who may or may not have a spot at a specific time. And that might lead to their belief that they can be an option for them. You can have a lot of people giving you factual from their point of view. They're part of the picture because they have an informed reason to do so and still not be right at the end of it.
Antoine Codes, good to see you, Antoine. FSU Clemson can't use the Big 12 against the SEC Big. The Big SEC don't need FSU Clemson. Internally, the Big 12 could like their chances. The FSU Clemson will get P2 cash in the Big 12. Again, that remains to be seen. I think you could play the Big 12 off, especially against the SEC. Right now, the SEC is focused on North Carolina and Virginia. Say they get North Carolina and Virginia and they somehow disrupt the backpack, or they take North Carolina State and North Carolina. Clemson and Florida State are two extremely valuable brands. We know that North Carolina, Virginia aren't extremely viable brands, really, football-wise. So those brands could grease the skids a little bit to get the partner to pay up a little more money, having Florida State and Clemson locked in there. But you're right, they could end up in the Big 12. I'm not going to say 100% certainty they're not. They could end up in the Big 10, the SEC, Independent, in the Big 12. All are likely options as far as I'm concerned. They're all likely options. So I won't rule that out yet.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Look, this would all be a lot easier if we had any idea, even if not the teams, but what the number cap end game that each of these conferences was willing to go to and by when, right? That's like the wild card, because we can speculate to all we want, but if we don't know somebody's definitely going past 20 in the, in the Big Ten's case, or past 18 or 20 in the SEC's case, I think everyone thinks that Big 12 would probably go as high as they needed to, because there's a lot of brands out there that actually maximize where they are and above and do add value. It's a little bit different game. But the other part of the equation, and this is one thing that I think people forget, is any deal can be amended in the middle of a deal if the two contractors are willing to change it, right? To add more money and plus it up. And the constant retraining, which I sometimes disagree with others on, that media rights are down and it's a tough market. I don't subscribe to that. Media rights grew less for some last time. That's what happened 2 years ago. That's not today. That's not what's happening to the NBA. So to speculate that it's going to be bad again, because people can't do the math on what will happen as they lose cable fees, and that they wouldn't be willing to negotiate something for a future streaming world where they need to keep you aggressively subscribed as opposed to passively subscribed bundled with your cable package, is, I think, a mistake to assume.
Illini Ted says, if Shear is right, and I definitely have my doubts, how does Florida State and Clemson sell their boosters on this move? They might need a little extra money from Brett Yormark to do that.
A lot of tears, man.
Let's see. We got a super chat here from our friend Ryan Willie. I knew Pate's comment last week was a nothing burger because it didn't have cheese on it. You know what? And I listened to the whole show up until he started talking about Nebraska's offense. After that, I was out. But he hooked me. He got me to watch a full show. Although I came in late and watched the first of it at like double speed. So,
yeah. Look, it didn't necessarily materialize the way that the levers were alluded to, but I would paraphrase this as like, cool. So the first quarter score is whatever. I'll judge that score for Pate on, really what happens by the end of July. And if I'm being kind, I'll give him the overtime of the next 3 weeks of August, right? Because that's going in reverse of everything he said, that he thought stuff would come out before kickoff, which is 40 days away. So he's got 40 days before we close the book on that initial prophecy. He's got 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks or so by the end of July, narrowing that he did. And maybe he's fumbled the ball for the first quarter.
Yeah, thank you for the tweet or for the super chat, Ryan. I do appreciate it. But like I said, I was one of the suckers. I got hooked right in the mouth and watched his whole show this week, just for a bunch of nothing. Although he did say Virginia Tech and Miami was a Game of the Year candidate.
Virginia, I mean, they're both pretty much, in the top 25 heading into the season for most of the preseason polls. This is a year that Miami can hopefully put it together, and Virginia Tech seems to have the potential to begin their turnaround. So we'll see. If you ever watched, when those two teams were performing at their max, those games were generally pretty good.
Mr. Monkey says Selena Gomez is not an option. She is. I've done nothing, and none of it's worked out. So I've tried everything, and nothing's worked out.
Clearly, Mr. Monkey says never saw Dumb and Dumber, because there's always a chance.
That's right. So you're saying there's a chance. Mr. E-Man, if FSU went to the Big 12, everyone in the SEC and the Big would laugh, and the fans would have to hide all the evidence that they are FSU fans and would have to stay off the internet. forever.
Yeah, I mean, overflowing popcorn for everyone else, but I still ultimately it would be entertaining for a moment, but I don't really think that's going to happen for them. And if they did go to the Big 12, they would be getting a very rich deal that would keep them financially competitive, and they probably wouldn't have to care about whether or not the Big 12 had 3 guaranteed slots or something in a playoff, because they would be in a very good position to always be in the top 12 or top 14, whatever playoff model happens. So, we'll see if that actually happens.
None says something that I'm not going to repeat. You got to say that, Rock and Rant.
Oh man, it's been great the last couple of times when somebody else has been on when this happens. But yeah, sure, let's go Blue, baby.
Nathan, when are the Board of Trustees or Board of Governors meetings? 17th and the 22nd. I believe for Clemson and Florida State, it's the 17th, and for North Carolina, it's the 22nd.
Yeah, and I think everyone's gone through that. Those are generally probably not spent, for the most part, have been actually scheduled and not are necessarily anticipated to have any news, but who knows, right? You never know what happens.
The Florida State one, there's open questions to John Alford, or I think that's his name, Mike Alford.
But I don't think there's a specific thing on the published agenda that would lead us to X. But, we all know enough now, whether it's a North Carolina board meeting or Florida State board meeting, that if it's an open session and you can watch, it may be a nothing burger, but it could be delicious.
I will tune in regardless. Timothy Green says, personally, I would rather not have Clemson or Florida State in the Big 12. That's just my opinion. If the price is right, I mean,
I guess why? Like, why wouldn't you? I can understand if you wouldn't want them in, if it's a short-term private equity thing for a few years, because you kind of feel, I don't know. There's a lot of there, but if it's going to add value to the school and it doesn't completely hurt you financially, why wouldn't you want those brands in your program, knowing eventually things will level off? That's, I guess, my question back to you, Timothy.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your comment on that, Timothy. Why would you not want Florida State? I mean, they would certainly add some legitimacy to the conference, having power teams, having lost Oklahoma and Texas. Illini Ted says, all this talk about Florida State and Clemson is overshadowing the real story that we are only 19 days until Cal and Stanford officially join the ACC.
It really is, and it's kind of sad. But then again, the ACC celebrated on during what was it, on July 2nd or July 1st, as if Cal and Stanford already did. So that clearly means they're not going to go. ACC network's not seemingly going to San Francisco that day to celebrate their entry, because they just did it from afar with remotes.
Let's see. Thank you for that comment, Illini Ted. That made me laugh. The reason I said that is I was afraid of a short-term deal. I figured that's the only reason they would come. Talking about Florida State and Clemson.
Yeah, I can understand that sentiment. It's you have to figure out, is there a win-win within that zone, right? The win-win might be, and I don't think this would happen, because I don't think there's a world, and I'll take the L, so to speak, if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a world where Brett Yormark gets outmaneuvered by Jim Phillips, but you could theoretically say the ACC somehow got their act together and decided to come and poach West Virginia and somebody else and bring them into somehow the ACC stayed together. Do I think that's going to happen? No, not remotely. Do I want that to happen? Not at all. But I guess if you're trying to do survival of the fittest, you eat up whoever you can until to strengthen your hand for the next round.
Devil Frogs in the house says, I want Florida State and Clemson for those extra AQ. Don't forget the extra playoff money. Question, this is from Sean Ski. Do you guys think that the Big 12 could bring in Oregon State and Washington State, selling part of the Pac-12 network to private equity? The Pac network could be worth a lot of money. Boy, I don't know. The last I heard, the Pac network was being sold off for parts. They're basically selling equipment and hardware and getting out of that studio in San Francisco. So I don't know how much value it has. Its biggest value is in its carriage, and it's not going to be carried anymore. So unless you can get a new deal where you're getting carriage on, at least enough cable systems for it to have value.
Yeah, they blew the launch of that, and the way they built that structure so bad that you had the ACC network in states where Pac-12 had schools with more subscribers.
Yeah, I can certainly understand investing in yourself and want to have a wholly owned network, but you always want to have somebody there to help you risk management. That way you can always fall back on a partner. Always, way easier to do that. Illini Ted says, if the Big 12 uses private equity and ends up doing unequal revenue sharing, wouldn't they be playing into the issue that about tore the league apart with Texas getting more resources than the others? Yeah, it's a sort of Damocles sort of thing hanging out there over top of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the glass half full, half empty. Texas used it as a threat to leave. The other one you're willingly agreeing to before they even come in. So I don't know if that makes it more palatable to anyone, but I think it's probably the way you make a win of that happens is you bring, you hopefully go back and you renegotiate with your partners. You're able to bring in a Florida State, a Clemson at a higher level than maybe your member schools are, but at the same time, you also raise the revenue that your members get, right? So if you're getting 40 and you somehow bring in Florida State and Clemson for whatever, 60, 65 million, maybe each school in the conference that already exists gets up to 45 or 50 million. So there's some degree of an upside there.
Yeah, and I think some of it goes down to perception too, because outside of BYU, I think BYU's 1986 national championship is the only football national championship within the Big 12 that's recognized. I'm sure there's some claim titles in there somewhere, but as far as NCAA recognized, I think it's BYU's the only one.
Yeah, there's we talk a lot about brands.
He's right. Colorado won.
Yeah,
Colorado. I'm talking. Yeah, new additions. Colorado has won national championship.
But there's a brand halo effect when you are associated with other brands, right? And that also increases the value of your brand, the perception, the sponsorship deals you can get, the ability to attract students potentially. There's a lot of other stuff that come. Like if you ever just think about real estate, there are a reason why if you go into the dwindling malls that exist, there's certain stores that want to be near the Apple store if there's an Apple store, right? There's stores that want to be in a Target shopping center versus a Walmart because they're just trying to reach different audiences and have a different brand adjacency.
Devil Frog saying that TCU has 2. Are either of those after 1960, Devil Frog? If you could let me know, that'd be super. UCF has a North Carolina, or has a national championship. Yeah, UCF claims a national championship, guys. Claims a national championship, but I think they did win one. It was some kind of like college football international coaches award for the UPI award.
Based out of the Orlando office.
Yeah, it was some. I know they do have one that actually did acknowledge them as a national champion that year, but I don't remember what it was for sure. I'd have to look it up, and that's not an insult to UCF fans, but come on, guys, you got left out of the playoff, unfortunately, but Cincinnati's the only G5 team to make a playoff. Just saying. All right. So yeah, it adds some legitimacy. But going back to talking about EA College Football 25, I'm getting the groove on here. What's the first thing? I know you don't have a system yet, but when you do get a system, what do you think is going to be the first thing you do in the game?
Oh, I think it's going to be totally around the recruiting and the NIL and the portal, and just like diving to see how they've taken whatever they've learned from their industry investigation and applied it to the gameplay, because that's like the more of the Sim City building aspect that I think is pretty interesting. I'm certainly gonna, the gameplay is gonna be awesome too. The graphics, I don't know if you did see, one thing from Josh Pate this week, the 24, 25 videos he launched with a bunch of schools and their little intros. I thought the graphics were pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And but I think the strategy behind it is the thing I think is the most interesting to me off the top.
Yeah, no, I got accused of watching them all day this weekend, and I said I'm not watching them all day because I got to sleep at some point. But yes, if you're looking for videos on EA College Football 25, it's right out there. Go ahead, start watching it. People are live streaming it. You can start live streaming it. There's certain creators that are live streaming it now. I think the first thing I'm going to do is conference realignment. I think I'm going to go in and I'm going to add Stanford and Notre Dame to the Big Ten. I'm going to go in and put North Carolina State, Clemson, Florida State into the SEC. I think I'm going to grab Louisville, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, and Virginia for the Big 12. I think they'll take both the Virginia schools. And then I'm going to rebuild the pack. I'm going to make the new pack. Alternatively, I'm going to do a timeline version of it where it's going to be Pack 16. I'm going to put together the Pack 16 and see how it looks. I go back and put together the 12-team power conferences. Look how it looks. So I'm interested. I'm really looking forward to doing that and simulating some seasons and getting that out there. But then just getting my hands on the game and playing the game, especially with all the stuff on Stadium Pulse and all that good stuff I've been watching all weekend. So I'm really looking forward to it. So like I said, tomorrow at 4 p.m.-ish, I'm going to stream it to the Twitch channel. Just me trying to figure things out. I'll probably say the F word a lot. So,
yeah, it's a good reminder to we just put the link in chat to join the Discord for College Football Mafia, because there's at least right now there's one channel set up for the game, but likely we'll figure out as we get more and more people in there who are playing the game different ways to help you do matchups with other players and find people on your platform and show us your conferences and all of that kind of things that we can just share in there, and look for people you might want to play from all the chats that you've been involved in across all the different shows.
Utah got screwed out of one after beating Alabama in 2008. Fair enough. Devil Frog says TCU's unclaimed Natty is the reason we have the top 25 poll they shared with SMU the year prior, and neither were happy about sharing the number one spot. I can't imagine that TCU and SMU weren't happy about sharing. Mo and Vision, I really like the Degrassi Junior High costume you're wearing tonight. Junior High. I don't think I ever watched Degrassi Junior High. I watched Degrassi High. And when I watched it, I was high. Daniel Gygax, Pac-12 Network Studio is not in an office park 25 miles east of Oakland now. Yeah, it's out of that office park entirely then. Troll grinding cheek clapper says, don't forget putting Cal in the whack. So sad to see, even in just a game, all the former California schools together again, except for Cal.
Oh man, no, it'd be even funnier if Cal wound up better at the end of it because they become Stanford's backpack.
There you go. Timothy Green says, Moen, that sounds really good, putting back together a Power 5. I like it. Well, it'd actually be, we'll see. Like I said, tune in on Twitch tomorrow around 4-ish, and we'll talk a little bit about it then and see if I can figure out how to get that to do it right. But and other things I wanted to talk about, let's talk about the season. You've got it down there on your calendar. It's 40 days away. Georgia Tech versus Florida State in Ireland.
9 a.m. Western, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, I guess it is. So yeah, that's. I think technically there's another game earlier. I couldn't even recognize the logos, but I think that's kind of looked at as the official kickoff in CFB, man. Like, look at the ESPN schedule. There's like one game listed right before then, but I didn't even bother to see. But that's the day. So August 24th, we actually get to mix some actual results in with all of our realignment stuff, and we'll see if realignment really dies off at that point. But yeah, it's I think more we've talked about things that are not actual football related for so long. The craving of like talking about whose dreams are alive or dying after the first couple of weeks, and what that really even means. It's probably your dreams are staying alive longer as we head into this season, right? One loss is not probably the kiss of death if you have the right schedule and you play the right games, where in the past it's been different. But your third loss versus a second loss could be. So definitely excited to see that. I mean, I clearly don't think it's a brave shot to sit there and say that Florida State is probably going to beat Georgia Tech. But there's also a good reason for those of you who partake in the drinking game to organically do so now.
I was going to say that. Is there a chance in hell that Georgia Tech wins that game? The devil in the bottle says there is.
Maybe if it turns out to, they announce going to the Big 12 the day before and everybody is like in, complete despair. But other than that, I don't feel confident in betting on your Dumb and Dumber chance there.
Yeah, I think Georgia Tech's going to be massively, not massively, but they're going to be improved this year. I think that they're going to be a bowl team. They're going to be 7-5 or 8-4, something like that.
Yeah, they're going to to your Mario take a knee moment. Now that that's done, they're going to be a depth school in the conference, right? And you need schools that can put on good games. And I think they're going to have. I don't think they're a school that gets blown out a lot. The program is going to get blown out a lot. They'll probably have one or two, but.
Yeah, at this point, I'm going through withdrawals for college football so bad that I'm going to watch that game, even if it is a blowout, even if it is just an absolute blowout. So
yeah.
Shonsky, do you guys know what the roster limits are going to be from the House settlement going from 140 athletes to, let's say, 85 is going to massive for parity? We don't 100% know yet because things are still being negotiated on that, Shonsky. There was a report last week that the cap is going from 22 to 28. In terms of the money, the millions, it's 22 million. It's going up to 28 million now. That's definitely going to put a heavy burden on some of these smaller programs. They're not going to be able to come up with 28 million annually. So you want to talk about the creation of a super league? This is a creation of a super league through capitalism.
Yeah, we don't even know that the settlement is going to be accepted by the judge yet. Like, we're not even at that phase of it. And it would be an ultimate plot twist in this crazy past 12 months for that to be kicked back by the judge for whatever reason it might be. Not predicting, I don't know enough to do that, but it hasn't technically been accepted to then take to the next step. And I'm not really even sure if you go from whatever, to an 85 scholarship limit. Yes, there are clearly some people who are preferred walk-ons in certain programs that would have homes elsewhere when they don't have a home to be a preferred walk-on, but I don't know how much that really helps downstream. Every once in a while, a couple of those players really, get their scholarship and make a difference, but it's not like 20% of them are in a given year.
Yeah, it's got to get through the judge, and then they've got to get some antitrust exemption from the government. So it's not likely that it's going to have any impact in at least the next year and a half.
Right. That's still the unanswered question from that settlement, is I still haven't had anybody tell me how they can make that apply to students that were not part of the negotiations in the future.
Well, it's antitrust exemptions. It's literally the federal government would have to come in and say.
Right. Or they have to do collective bargaining.
Right. Devil Frog, I've seen some of the intros for several of the Big 12 schools on CFB 2025. They are fire. I think they're all kind of fire. I mean, even Boston College coming out and rubbing that eagle statue, I think is pretty cool. They got the Notre Dame one down, played like a champion today. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. FSU, they got that one really great. I thought that was one of the better ones.
Oh, with the Seminole Chief and the Flaming Spear. Yeah, what does Miami have? Did Miami have coming out with the fire extinguishers?
I didn't think that the Miami one was like super great, but it wasn't off either.
I just remember in the time they came out with the fire extinguishers.
Yeah, they used to do that, and then
could-
then they had the smoke stuff. They use both. They use the smoke thing and the fire extinguishers. It's also, it's kind of one of those things that got usurped a lot by a lot of other places, but it still looks pretty hot. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the video was at night, which is when Hard Rock games for Miami were actually really great. Is the night games, which means you actually have to be winning to get on the night slots.
Dare to dream. Shonsky says it's a 55 athlete reduction, way past walk-ons. Yeah, absolutely it is. Huge cut in the roster size. The only problem is that, like I said, this thing is still being negotiated as of today. Like I said, last week it came out that went up from 22 to 28. It might even have been 29 million. So we got a guest here. Bomber,
I'm not talking about like Joe. Hey, Bomber.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
So, this is the boss coming in on a weekend, seeing what the kids are doing and in the C store and what they're selling for free, and just checking in on you guys. How you doing?
Doing all right.
We're surviving. And when it doesn't seem like we're doing a therapy session for Florida State fans at the moment, and Clemson fans, maybe that's still going on elsewhere. So we're just kind of running through everything.
Yeah, Look, I didn't even know anything was going on until I saw a note from Moen. And I just want to really quick, everybody's freaking out about Jason Scheer now, right? First it was Ross Dellinger, spinning rumors, and now it's Jason Scheer spinning rumors. People take all that crap out of context. Both of those reporters, and I'll call Jason Scheer a reporter. He gets paid to report things. He writes articles. Said these are their feelings.
Yeah.
These are the things they're thinking, right? Not they're total off the top of their head, and at the very least, or at the very most, third-party contacts, meaning the guy goes to lunch with another guy, happens to be like an assistant, baker, and the other guy is, the assistant, headmistress, and they're just there having lunch, right? But that technically you could call a third-party contact. So, and the reason it matters because that's what we report. It matters to us because we turn around and we say we support this or we don't think this is true based on what we know, and we have sources, what we know, and then what we think we can support. This separates us from some others out there. There's one in particular right now spinning yarns that I don't know. He's got to have a giant blanket around him by now. That are just, I don't even know what to say about him, but that's not us, right? And that's really important. In fact, I only think there's a few of us that fit the bill. Right this second, peek around the corner and Greg Flugar, us, a little bit of Coos, John Kurtz, but we're talking less than 7 or 8, right? And we have a whole team here that's supporting that. So I just want to come out and just I don't want to take over your show, Moen or Rock. I just wanted to. That was something I was not communicating well on Twitter, and I just want to let everybody know that's kind of where we fit.
Okay, Nate. Well, tomorrow at 4 p.m., EA College Football comes out.
I do. So are you? Let's see. You're gonna tune up with Eastern Kentucky, right?
No. I'm going to go into the conference realignment part.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. What if where they belong?
I have a conspiracy theory, and I'll do like a shout out to somebody whose initials begin with J in Greg's chat, and who I love. What if it turns out that his post today was because he's getting paid as an influencer, and tomorrow, in his realignment on EA Sports,
right,
Florida State and Clemson are moving to the Big 12.
Big 12, and that's his podcast.
That would be the best freaking get ever. I would try to do that if I was in charge of EA marketing. I would totally play that off of the realignment freak out and then have reporters like, psych, we actually got access to the game and I moved those schools to my conference.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think that I would want an angry mob of Florida State fans.
I know. I'm just playing for the sake of it, you know. I've heard every other conspiracy theory that's as valid as some of the ones I've heard.
Right. I agree with you. Who do you guys know what article here Nathan Campbell's talking about?
He talks about it a little further up in chat. An article
Oh.
by a gentleman named Sebastian Abernathy.
No, I don't. Put it in the comment section. Post a link or DM me the thing in Twitter, and I'll look into it.
Yeah. Let's get back to some comments here. You're here, Nate. You can say this.
Go Blue! Michigan in the house.
Isn't there like a only one time per show rule on that one? Unless
That's
there's like
a different
super
guy,
chat?
though. That's a different guy.
Oh, but
So-
still, it could almost apply like, you know, Ute song, unless there's like a super chat with it.
I have no problem. All you have to do is ask me, Mo, and I'm there for you.
Yeah, it's easier for you to say. You can hijack the chair.
Now, if you said something like "Go Utes" or something like that, that would be a problem for me.
Utah man.
Yeah, that's so stupid. Did you see EA Sports released a bunch of entrance videos?
Yeah.
for
Yeah, we were
different
just
schools?
talking about that.
We were talking about that.
You-
They lifted
The one they did for
embargo.
Utah had no background noise for the crowd at all. BYU's is epic. It's as good as Penn State's or anybody else's, but Utah, not so much. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I guess I'll just have to enjoy.
Wild Ute was asked for comment, but was not available.
I'm sure he would tell me.
He's supposed to be playing me in a game of that, so he's going to borrow
Okay.
a system from his brother, and we're going to square off Utah versus Ohio State. We'll probably make it a neutral field in the playoffs, and see who's the better
Nathan,
player.
really quick, Nathan, just post the link in the comment section and I'll copy it. You don't have to send it on Twitter or anything.
Yeah, don't worry that it won't let you link it. Just post the link itself,
Right.
and Nate will just
And I'll
copy it and get it.
It should pop. It'll pop up for us in StreamYard.
Right.
It
Right.
won't pop up in YouTube, but we can see it in StreamYard. Here comes the PAT surge. Hey y'all. Hey, keep chopping. Good to see you. I guess Greg went
Did
off.
Greg
the air.
end? Is Greg
You never
done?
want to take Greg to a bar with you.
You should
He's
send
a
him an
fat guy.
invite, Moen.
He's a fat guy from Minnesota, but I'm sure.
Moen, you should send him an invite.
I will, but I don't know that he's going to be able to because of the time. But we'll
Here,
see.
I tell you what, I'll do it for you.
All right, you want to grab that? You go ahead and do
If
that.
you're okay with it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
It's
with
like
it.
Howard Stern. We're doing the wrap-up show with Flugar if he comes on.
Hey, it's the after show, right?
It's the after hours.
Yeah, that's right.
It was funny you were talking earlier about third-party membership or third-party discussions. I was going to say it could be the assistant to the assistant regional manager.
That's fantastic, Moen. That is great. Oh, you need to put that into a tweet. That was awesome.
Dennis Hattie says assistant bakers and assistant mistresses actually are in the know very often.
That
an
is
assistant to the
100,000.
assistant regional manager is too.
Well,
think
but the
that's
point
hilarious.
actually is completely valid. The assistants network in any company knows everything.
Yes, they do. That's the executive
They
assistant.
know
all of them.
everything. Like, I'd rather hear from an assistant working in the right office
Right.
than a manager or a director, because they probably really know, depending upon who they're working with every day.
Completely agree. Completely agree.
King Spleen says the most important thing Shear said was a timeline associated with Florida State's ACC departure. It's possible these stories are allowed to be reported for a leveraging reason. Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I still think it's the SEC. I still think they're leveraging. They want a full share. We've heard it from contributors on the show. They think they deserve, like Vince, we deserve a full share. In my opinion, this is a negotiating position ESPN has taken to basically say you can slip to the Big 12 or come to us with a reduced share. I could see that happening.
Lakers fan since 1986. Makes me wonder who was a fan of since 1985.
86. That was Showtime time.
Yeah. That was later Showtime, though.
It's right in the middle of it.
Yeah, middle of it.
Right,
Okay,
right
we'll
in the
go
middle
with
of
that.
it. Yeah.
Did you ever watch that series on HBO, Winning Time, with
I did.
Yeah, that was a fantastic series. I hate that
It was
they canceled
excellent.
it.
They wrapped it up because they didn't want to do a third season, so they crammed everything.
Yeah, they crammed
last
everything into
minute.
the
That
last
was
10
stupid.
minutes of the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really stupid.
Keep chopping. Yeah, I will not put Miami with Notre Dame. I'm going to put Stanford in there. It makes sense in a divisional standpoint. 4 divisions of 5 teams.
And just for the talking of it, not because I think this is how it plays out, but there would be something wild if, when it all plays out and all the dominoes fall, if there were schools that wound up being regretting the fact that they voted against letting Stanford have a temporary home in ACC, and it comes back to bite them later.
A la Pitt. I think Pitt's
A
gonna
la
regret it.
FSU.
Yeah. Well, they didn't vote for him though.
That's what I'm saying. If they turn it around, if this whole theory goes and
Right.
the next two in the Big Ten turned out to be Notre Dame and Stanford.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I thought you were talking about something
Yeah.
else. I apologize.
If that ever happened, right? But there were still dominoes to fall. Like that's one. Again, I don't think that's what's playing out. But
Right.
if it did, and Stanford went with Notre Dame because Notre Dame finally changed their mind, and I think we all agree that they would take Stanford with them if Stanford was willing to acquiesce on the academic alliance thing, right?
Right.
Then all of a sudden, the school that you didn't help win is now a vote against you. Again, I don't think that's what's happening. I'm just playing out the game theory of it.
What do you think about this comment, Moen?
Hoping for the big bar. Guys, listen, it's an inherent belief. I can't really. We covered it earlier. Like I said earlier to the people who were at the beginning of the show, Notre Dame it's been the inherent belief, or the not inherent, but internal belief of the Big Ten that Notre Dame's going to be in the conference for the last 80 years.
At some point.
At some point, and it still has not happened. So,
Yeah.
internal beliefs do not make a conference member.
No, they don't. I like this description though. That Greg's out there laying the ground, doing all the hard work he does, and then we come behind him and fill in.
Yeah.
A lot
Well,
of the
Greg's
stuff,
in the
right?
rich neighborhood. He should be giving
That's
away the
right.
big candy bars.
I agree. Well,
We
that's
give
true.
away snack sizes here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ryan
Greg's
Willie.
Greg's also nice about stuff, right? He
course he is.
tries to let people down with what he thinks is going on a little bit more slowly. I don't know how, when talking about relationships, I don't know how you start building relationships if others have had them for years already. It's
Completely
hard to like speed date your way to those kind of relationships.
Ryan Willie with the super chat here. I'm a fat guy from Wisconsin that knows everything tastes better with bacon and cheese. I agree with you 100%. A Baconator from Wendy's.
Good to see you, Ryan.
Thank you for the super
In a
chat,
minute.
sir. Let's give him a talking about bacon and cheese. It made me think of
Okay.
this.
Let him cook.
There you go. That's a
Let
good
him
one.
cook now. Let him cook. I said, let him cook.
It's a good one. Thank
Thank
you,
you
Ryan.
so
Really
much, Ryan.
appreciate it.
Keep Chopping's got a great idea. Georgia Tech dynasty in the Big Ten.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh, there you go. That might be my rebuild right
go.
there. Is Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech to win a couple ACC titles and then get into the Big Ten.
So you guys are smarter than me on this. I used to know video games inside and out till about 7 years ago. So it seems, at least in the Twitterverse and then people on our show, that they're really looking forward to this college football, EA sports game, right?
yes.
How many people are they actually? How many are they going to sell?
7 million the first week, I would say.
7 million the first week. Is that what you think, Rock? It's more
That-
your area.
I think it's a little bit more. I think it's more niche because I think there's a lot more bombers out there, right? Meaning the
Right.
potential audience for the game
Yeah.
haven't been playing as much recently, and probably gonna have to take a step to get the
Right.
new platform or figure it out. So I don't know if it will have that that level of instant sales like the launch of fill in the blank game that comes out with their latest Halo
Right.
or whatever it might be. But I think it'll be in the millions, right? Whether it's 2 or 3 versus 7, I'm not sure. But I think as people get the word of mouth spreads about it, you'll see more and more people get into it.
Yeah,
But
this
for
is
me-
a sequel 8 years in the making.
Right. For
Yeah,
me,
there's a
it's a $400 investment or a $300 investment, right? That's
Right.
a lot of money because you have to buy the platform, you have to get the game, and then you got microtransactions.
Yeah.
You want to
Did
put
you see if
stickers
your-
on your
Can
helmet.
your new PC run it?
Of course it can, but it's not a PC game.
I think it is.
No, it isn't.
It'll eventually come to PC.
It may, and that would
Yeah.
be cool. That I would buy it then, but for
Yeah.
me, I have to turn around and buy a new PS12 or whatever it is.
Right. It'll
know.
eventually come to PC, just like all the Maddens do.
That would be great. Then I would definitely do it. I was asking people to subsidize me buying one, and that didn't work out so well. People didn't want
I
to
know.
give me money.
What?
No.
I'm utterly stunned.
You got to
Shocked, right?
invest in it. You got to invest in yourself, Bomber.
I do. That's what this show is. All my money goes into this show. So if you guys like the show, that's where my money goes. Don't be slamming me because I'm not joining your leagues. I had probably 40 people ask me that they gave me their player handle, right? They kept saying,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, look, I'm not doing that. You give me $300, I'll do it. But
Dude, I have at least 0 that have done that, so it's all good.
Lakers fan thinks I should make that Ohio State Utah game a national championship game. That's come on. Utah's never making a national
Nonsense.
championship, guys.
Absolute
That's
nonsense.
TF Williams says, "Hey y'all, good to see you, TF." Jonathan Price is in the house. Hashtag
Hey.
Chop, another Rutgers fan.
Love them. Good to see you, Jonathan.
Chonsky says 25 years ago, if you bought a big gulp and a hot dog at 7-Eleven, you would get 2 free tickets to Utah football.
That's a fact.
That's a good time. Ask me.
That is a fact. But we have to tip our hats as BYU fans. They've turned it around. They're doing well. They've had a 2-decade run, and they continue to excel. But Kyle Whittingham's on borrowed time. If it's not this year, it's the year after. He's not sticking around. So,
Hey, Mullen, can we do a poll to see if Nate's more bitter about Utah or SMU?
oh, no, I'm not bitter about Utah. I'm
Here,
not at
let's
all bitter
do-
about Utah. I think SMU is a special case.
I'm just trying to think of who are the 2 schools that any vitriol comes out from you on a regular basis.
Well,
One's obvious, and the second one is SMU.
Yeah. With Utah, it's a peer thing, right? It's a rivalry thing, and that's all self-contained. I wouldn't be saying anything about SMU right now if they hadn't written a check and sold away their rights for a decade to get into a power conference. I don't fault them for doing it. There are times I want BYU to do that, right?
Right.
But it's the fact that somebody let them. It's one thing to ask. It's another thing to have it allowed. And that's the ACC has been desperate for a couple of years now, trying to stay relevant. And that was a Hail Mary. And in my opinion, SMU may be back on the river here in a little bit.
Well, I got the poll running. We'll see what it comes up with.
All right, great.
Steve Moser says, "Yep, once a year or so, someone on Law and Order gets taken down because they were making evil plans with an earshot of an executive assistant, who they completely ignore."
Always
I
happens.
did this comment just so I could play.
There we go.
Right.
Love it. Law and Order.
CFB Playoff Edits is in the house. Great show. Thank you, CFB. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. All new people, make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Twitter.
TF Williams says, "Do you think FSU should pair with Miami to try to get into the big? I think if they could get North Carolina, that would be their shoo-in to get into the big.
But
Ten.
I don't think North Carolina wants to bring Florida State. I think
Probably
the
not.
reverse is. Yeah.
I
From what we
think Miami
understand-
has value to the Big Ten, but I just don't think they have enough value to pull that off.
Now, this is something that's interesting. The FSU thing is really, really interesting, right? Clemson's taking a back seat. They're doing the lawsuit, but they're not agitating at all. At Florida State, I mean, they've had this in since December. They declared freedom last December, and it just seems like time has gone by. And we haven't heard a lot about third-party talks, Florida State and Big Ten, right? We're not hearing rumors, third-party talks with the SEC. I don't know what Florida State's been doing except for agitating, complaining they were left out of the CFP, and then complaining they were left out of the CFP and losing to Georgia. I just don't get it.
Steve Moser with a super chat. Here you go, Nate. Get yourself 29 more people to donate $10, and you've got your new gaming system set up. LOL.
All right, Steve Moser, $10. Moen, there it is. That's my $10.
Let's get him a good sound effect.
All the money you guys do on super chats, normally we keep them in the team. If you really want to give me stuff, my
Tune in for
my-
Prime Day, Nate.
my
You're
Ven-
gonna be
my
a deal.
Venmo is Bomber. It's just like I spell my name.
BOMB3R.
That's right.
There you go.
Hey, Steve Moser, thank you very much. Appreciate the donation. And we'll probably end up getting it. I think Rock and Rant nailed it, though. There is a generation of people who haven't played it for a while.
And I think those people will make that investment. I think.
Over time.
Yeah, I think they will. I just don't know that they're all doing it this week because that's one of the things I think is and others will go against me. The rollout that they did about the marketing on this has been pretty amazing, but I think they should have, for that specific reason, gave more clarity about Dynasty and
Right.
things like that earlier, and the cross-platform stuff even earlier, because you had to give people a chance to do that. Now, if I'm Amazon and Xbox and PlayStation stuff don't go on, a lot of great deals all the time, but some of the older stuff can. So Prime Day there might be some things that are specifically targeted to the people in the world like Nate. But if you're only going to play it for the one game, there's used consoles and stuff out there too, as long as you're not too ancient with the console.
Yeah,
I think you could probably get a Series S on Amazon on Prime Day for like $239.
Yeah, you gave me one recently.
It was like $270, and it was
Yeah, that's
like
right. That's like
it was
$50 more.
Yeah.
So when is Prime Day? Is it tomorrow?
16th and 17th.
So Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. If you have,
and then you usually get people who mimic that stuff too. So you have to do a good little Capital One searching tool and see who somebody else.
Oh, so you're saying they compete with?
Yeah,
Prime.
you'll see a bunch of deals from others who don't want to just like give Black
Okay.
Friday of the summer away to Amazon, even though Amazon created it.
Okay, that's great. I didn't know that. I just assumed it was always just Amazon.
Sky says, regarding Notre Dame and the other to the Big Ten, looking at the all-time games played, minus the service academies, Notre Dame has played these non-big teams the most. Pitt, we've talked about that. Georgia Tech, Stanford, Miami, and Boston College. So that's
the top 6.
That's an
Is that what
organic
that is?
Georgia
Top
Tech.
5. Okay,
That's organic.
sure.
Yeah, and like Stanford and others caught up because Notre Dame canceled the Miami Notre Dame series in 88, 89.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it was like that was Miami would have been higher. It wouldn't have caught up to Pitt, but it could have potentially been second in that list if the game kept on being played annually.
It should have been. That game was epic. It should be every year. I love that game.
Jose says, watch Notre Dame tell Big to accept Stanford, and then the Leprechaun stays independent like they did to the ACC.
That's possible.
I'm going to say this. We're going to get that national letter of intent signed first, boys.
Yeah,
We're going to
gotta
make
have
sure the
something in writing.
paperwork backs to the head office before we make any decisions on Stanford.
No back of the napkin negotiating.
Yep.
No alliances.
Never
Notre Dame's like
trust
the
a man
Kamani
in green.
McLean of 5 stars.
That's right. Or we could even throw in Clemson. Clemson did that with the ACC, right? The ACC said, "Don't sue us. Here, we'll deal with you on the side." And the Clemson sat in the corner, didn't say anything, and then jumped them. I love Clemson now. I love the people. I love everything they do. They're awesome.
Well, think about Clemson's legal strategy too. They narrowed it,
Right.
and they filed later, and they got access to the full media
Yeah.
rights deal sooner than Florida State. So I'm not saying the Florida State's lawyers aren't doing their job, but Clemson, maybe with their narrow approach to just prove the escape part, they seem to have got an action more. Ultimately, both states are moving faster than the ACC. Wish Justin was in the chat, but Justin, who's the NC State guy, had alluded that the separate and apart from Judge Bledsoe announcing his retirement in North Carolina,
Which
that
is
just
incredible.
that just the appeal process on the current appeal to the state Supreme Court could take more than 12 months. So it doesn't even matter about Bledsoe, that does add potentially some other delays, and I don't want to speak for him and incorrectly categorize it. But if you think about that, the race to the courthouse is definitely a 2-state race at the moment, barring new developments.
Right. You hit every key point. Plus, Clemson, they're looking at it from a different angle too. They're doing the strictly legal negotiating, like what the definition of is, or the present tense of words versus past.
Right.
They're really drilling down in that contract.
Kerry Go Knowles, what is this I'm hearing of a possible Florida State Clemson to the Big 12? You missed our little rant earlier. Internal belief does not make a conference member.
No.
But you also missed that Moen's going out with Selena Gomez on Friday.
That's right.
That's
my
right.
internal belief within the next year.
And we got to be nice to Kerry Go Knowles there, right?
Yeah.
A dedicated Knowles fan, somebody that really cares about their school, where they end up. And, I just feel bad for the way this has gone. I firmly believe, and I will go to my grave with this, once they sued in December, they had an indication, one, that they could settle to get out, and two, somebody in the Big or the SEC gave them the nod and wink, saying, if you can get separated, we'll go in. If you go back and look at the history in January and February, you will see all kinds of manic comparisons and conversations and negotiations. People talking about how that would work, and then it was silent. And since
Kerry,
then,
Kerry just like injects the hate.
that's okay. That's
Well,
He's
I'm
like me
sure-
for Florida State. He just injects the hate and like eats it up.
I'm sure when he saw that, he was probably going,
Oh, hell no.
thank you for the super chat, Gary. Much appreciated, brother. Let's see here. Go Black says, rumor is Notre Dame wants the ACC to crumble first and leave. They don't want to be blamed for that. So they fit the Big Ten very well. That's right. We don't have any blood on our hands. We've done nothing wrong ever. Oh, look at this. Howdy from Mexico, listening in while also
There we
watching
go.
Copa America.
Yes, I love it. We need more international people. Thank you, Ed. It's good to see. He's been on vacation down there all week, actually, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I'm watching
You
Copa
can correct me
after
if I'm
this, so
wrong,
no,
Anthony.
No spoilers.
nobody dropped scores. No spoilers because I need to see the break-in too.
Are you
That's a
gonna watch
spoiler I already
Copa?
heard about. After, yeah, I'll do it on like super fast.
Oh, go ahead. I just didn't. Once the U.S. lost, I was done. I didn't care.
It's messy.
Yeah, that's the only way soccer's exciting is if you watch it on super fast. Daniel Gygax says, Timothy Green, the reason the Big East fell apart was shit, and Syracuse announced in September 2011 they were leaving for the ACC. Lee agrees with you. I won't be one of them. They ruined it for me, taking 8 years to come out with a new one. I'm going to try it on Xbox Game Pass for subscription. I don't think it's going to be on Game Pass. Even with EA Select or whatever it's called, you can just get a discount for it. It's not going on Game Pass day one. Go Black corrects me. It is PS5 or Xbox Series exclusive. EA says it will not come to PC ever. They're probably worried about people modding. Oh, check this out. 10-hour free trial of College Football 25 with Xbox. So apparently they're giving you the old 10-hour trial on Game Pass.
Just a little bit of drugs for your veins.
There you go. And I'm sure there'll be microtransactions, but I'm not going to do that. Tronsky says you can get a cheap console for $180. We might as well end the poll that we were on.
It sounds like it's kind of overwhelming at this point. So
Yeah, people think you should invest in it and get an Xbox
Okay.
so we can play on Twitch.
well, let's just. So Almighty Finn mentioned about me having a Cash App.
Yeah.
So I'll create one of those, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Do that.
I need a new car. What can we do after you get your Xbox?
Hey man,
He needs
I'm
a
telling
car in
you.
California, guys. That's just not a normal car. They got to have emission standards.
Yeah, people that live in California, I swear,
Yeah, I know how you
Crazy
feel.
crazy place to live.
Live sports. keep
And I
people
want you to
alive.
keep thinking that's the case.
I know you do. I know.
thinking that FSU and Clemson News is a plant to give ESPN a reason to drop ACC because of instability. You could be right. That could be very well the evil plan.
That's what I think it is. And Moen, this follows up with what Moen's saying for a while now, that he thinks they're just going to drop the ACC network, say it ends in 27, and then once they give that official break, then they can start negotiating the new one with the reduced members and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I think that part is true. The Moen's theory of them not doing the re-up and renegotiating, but the thought that this little flutter out there for ESPN for a Big 12 with Florida State and Clemson, as if ESPN doesn't have Brett Yormark on speed dial.
Right.
It's like that sounds like like schools or people trying to play checkers, right? When like they have all of the aces and all of the cards, and they have 8D chess and freaking AI kind of tools available.
Yeah, I think
You got to move your mic down, Bomber.
Oh, sorry. Brett Yormark is reinventing what a commissioner can do at a conference. He's turning that upside down. The old rules, even the old boys network, they're going to get left behind. I know they're making more money now, but Brett Yormark's going to get out there and do stuff nobody even imagined, like bring in a third party. You bring in new schools, you can bring in somebody new. Now the Big 12's 50, 55. I'm just saying.
Oh boy, I got a used Xbox Series S in College Football 25 for $225. My wife was mad, but she understood. You've got a good wife there, oh boy.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
I get yelled at for watching videos all weekend. Florida State would pair with SMU if it would get them in the big. Whoa. We're not taking SMU. They might pair with them, but we're not taking SMU.
I mean, they might ride the horse there, but
let's see. Moen Locked On Big Ten predicts Wisconsin will win 5 games. Take the over. Take the over on that one. If they're going to give us money on that, I'm taking the over.
All right, there we go.
So does that mean there's 5 games that we know that Tyler Van Dyke will be injured?
You know what? For everybody who says stuff like that, I just bring up Joe Burrow, Mike Penix. There are guys that are just, for whatever reason, not fantastic on their teams. They get a change of scenery and something changes for them. So
I think every right to be better.
I'm sure you have every right to be better. Trust me. I was bitter that Joe Burrow turned into an all-pro at LSU, had the most successful year in college football, but he couldn't beat out Justin Fields. Yeah, Timothy Green, I had an Xbox 360 and it red ringed on me and I didn't buy a new one. But I knew a lot of people like that who had just kept the disc in the Xbox 360 and that way they could keep on playing it. Shonsky's violating the law. My Xbox has been illegally chipped. It allows me to borrow the game and download it to my console. I love Microsoft.
For some reason, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, we don't recommend that. King Spling corrects you. Clemson did not get the full media agreement. It was heavily redacted, and they refiled with the courts to get the redactions reviewed.
Well, and just to clear that up for just a second, it's even more different than that. Florida State got access to contracts going back into the 80s. They got access to like 5 or 6 contracts and a Gore. So Florida State got more stuff. They were later getting it. Clemson got what they asked for eventually, but they are a little different.
Daniel Gygax brings up a great point. San Diego State thought they had a Pac-12 invitation.
Yep.
Great point.
Well, Selena told them they had one.
That's Selena. What a vixen. Stormy Cyclone says, I believe that FSU and Clemson to Big 12 is possible. Might explain the ESPN, Fox streaming, and Warner getting some football content. Too much content needed. Media expansion also. Could be.
Yeah, if you're thinking of linear time slots, then yes. If they're thinking of content they could add on to make you have to go to Venue, the new app there, or if they somehow decided to make it so that you only get certain games in your market and the rest of them you have to go to Venue and they share time slots, then they wouldn't. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but that's what the NFL does.
Porter Osborne Jr. Good evening, everyone. I've really enjoyed the channel since I started watching a few weeks ago. Keep up the good work. Go Dogs. I have a Georgia fan in the house. They've been tearing it up on the recruiting trail lately. Just got I believe, a cornerback or a safety today.
I mean, Oregon and Georgia, Ohio State, Miami, Florida State, and honestly, like on a lesser degree, SMU have been going crazy the last few weeks on recruiting.
It's good to have money. Do you think that with the Pac falling apart and ACC looking that way, schools like a Cincinnati and Houston are thanking their lucky stars that they were invited earlier? I absolutely believe that. Absolutely believe that. 100%.
Yeah. Vanderbilt says hello.
Yeah. And Nate's laughing and we can't hear him. So.
Oh, you still can't hear me? Wait a second. What?
Your mic's gone. Yeah, you've went and flipped it all the way to the back.
Sorry. Call Moen.
Well,
Quit yelling at me.
It is proving that you have a unidirectional mic, which is optimal for streaming.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's worked great. It's a Jabra. I've been very happy with it. Yeah.
And so you can use that on Xbox. Just remember to move that little mic part around.
Okay. What was the statement? Sorry, I didn't.
Do you think that Houston and Cincinnati are thankful that they got in early?
Absolutely. Anybody who's in should be thankful. Yeah. I mean, I look at Washington State, Oregon State, right? They were in and now out.
Yeah.
So, yes, absolutely. Jared Jones.
Ryan Willie with the super chat here says Tyler Van Dyke has to be better than Tanner Mordecai. Yeah. Mordecai was pretty awful.
Yeah, I'm giving him grief. I think he's a good candidate for new scenery,
player.
as Moen talked about.
Yeah, comeback player of the year or something like that. Jared Jones says we must buy Bomber a PS5 and a new mic.
I'm
an
working
Xbox,
on it.
An Xbox would be fine. He doesn't need a PS5.
Yeah, just get him an Xbox and you can get me a new car and we're good.
Nathan cannot find the article. That's okay, Nathan. I'll look it up afterwards. Sebastian Abernathy. I got the guy's name.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. I would like to hear it. We like hearing other people.
Let me see if I can find it right now.
Okay. We'll let
that's what we're here for.
Try and look that up real quick. I can't wait until these 40 days pass. I'm really looking forward to college football season and, of course, college basketball season as well. Give you a little Keith Jackson. That'll keep us out.
We're going to play football. Yippee!
Yeah. Keith Jackson.
Terry Go Knowles with the $50 chat. Wow.
Oh.
Thanks, Bomber. Thanks, Kerry.
Oh, I know that this is. This is I think that's a parody guy, but let me double check. I'll put it in the chat for you guys.
Who?
All right, let me play the remix.
It's
Knowles,
DC McCornfrog.
Oh, I don't know.
Is the Twitter handle?
Yeah, I don't know that.
There you go, Kerry. Thank you for the $50. That'll go towards
Sucking you. They've been sucking you. You're sick of it. I get it. They've been sucking you.
This is a new dance hit in South Beach.
Sucking you. They've been sucking you. And you're sick of it. I get it.
Well, that's it. That is it.
Let me take a look here, and we'll take a look at this tweet here for Nathan Campbell. Thank you again for that very generous donation, Kerry.
Absolutely, Kerry. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that tweet that you're referring to, Nathan. I think it's a parody guy. You know, I think or whatever. I think it's like one of those Twitter accounts with 150 followers, which I shouldn't say anything because I'm on my 19th Twitter account and my current one only has 400. But whatever.
Well, he literally lists it in his account that it's a parody account. So I think
you always got to do that double checking.
Yeah, we can all agree that it's a parody account.
So that account that's not a thing then.
I mean, it could wind up being a thing, but not because he's saying it.
Yeah,
not because yeah.
Right. It's an account, but like I said, the guy, I mean, I could literally read you his Twitter profile.
No, don't. I don't want to.
Yeah, like you might think my account's a parody account, but it's actually not. I think his really is.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. But thanks for bringing it up, Nathan. We always like to double check those things. Yeah, that's a parody account. Don't put any weight to that, brother. So
All right. I'm going to get
yeah,
this
and he's
down.
saying because it also has Miami to the Big 12. It also has Notre Dame to the Big 12, which yeah, fictional. Interested to hear what Rock and Rant thinks about where Miami ends up when the dust is settled.
I personally, well, if you told me what Notre Dame was going to do, I'd give you a better answer. I think Miami is. My gut is that it's still going to be Big Ten. That's where I think it winds up happening. Nothing would surprise me if you told me what Notre Dame was going to do and how many schools the Big Ten was going to go to. I'd give you a better answer, right? If Notre Dame goes in and takes Stanford, well, tell me, is Big Ten stopping at 20 or 22 or 24? I don't think there's like a world where Miami wouldn't get into the Big Ten personally if it went to 22, even if Notre Dame and Stanford came in. But there could be, I could be wrong about that for sure. If Notre Dame's staying out of the game for a minute and is clear about that, and North Carolina goes to the SEC, and Big Ten truly wants to expand, I think Miami is more likely to go to the Big Ten than Clemson is. And I think Florida State would, in that scenario, has one or two landing spots for sure still in the Big Ten and SEC as possibilities, along with the potential of some wild thing happening for the Big 12. Everything I've ever heard for 2 years on Miami and to this day is more been Big Ten, but that doesn't mean it's right, and doesn't mean that the people I trust who do have some degree of information will ultimately play out that way, because there's going to be 25 more things that nobody expects to happen.
The Big Lubbock, what did I miss? Well, you missed Kerry Gonos drop a 50-piece McNugget bomb on us.
Absolutely. Kerry's a stud.
Absolutely rocking the Casbah here.
Down at the bottom, everybody, I put the Cash App since you guys wanted me to have one, and then there's a Venmo. Any money you give me on those accounts, I'm going to put in to either the Xbox or the PS. What do we have we decided which one I should
We've
get?
decided Xbox, Bomber.
Xbox.
Xbox.
Okay.
So
I thank you for telling me. I just wanted to know.
you're getting an Xbox too. You're just getting a Series S since you're only playing the one game.
Oh, what's the difference?
About $200.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a like? Is it the hard drive size or something?
There's some graphical improvements, but
Oh, okay.
I
All
mean,
right,
if you
well-
really want a Series X, you can get the mini fridge. But
Yeah. It
I don't
also
know
matters
anything
like
about it.
what your monitor or your TV is. Like some of those
Right.
platforms, if you don't have the right TV, you're not going to be able to take advantage of.
I've got a 65 right now, but my goal is to get an 84. That's the one I want.
It's
really
less
want.
about the screen size and more about which kind of HDMI you have.
Okay.
and your refresh rate. Nathan Campbell, why would he put it on Facebook? Probably because the guy's a jerk.
Yeah, this is what I would say. I got burned today by something about the shooting yesterday. I reposted something that I was alerted, immediately deleted, and apologized for forwarding it. But we got to be really careful about who we're reposting, right? As careful as you can be. And I wasn't diligent enough. I should have gone in more and tried to figure out who had posted the original post. But in sports, and especially in realignment, you got to take that to the nth degree. You would have to look at, there's probably 20, and it's probably less than that, people you can really trust that post things about realignment. Not many.
Nathan Campbell follows that up with who has money along with Clemson and Florida State. Well, Miami has money.
Miami definitely has the money.
We found that out from recruiting, clearly. As far as realignment candidates, UNC probably has quite a bit of money. Virginia probably has quite a bit of booster money, though I don't know that they want to put that into athletics.
Yeah, with those schools, it really depends on like what choices do they want to make, right? For Virginia, they don't necessarily spend that much money specifically on football to do this. But if they also value if the Big Ten is this question specifically, if they value what they think the upside is from the academic alliance, even for a school that does great on research and is already amazing at academics. If they can put a financial value on that, then they might be more willing to spend quote unquote on athletics for that alignment with the Big Ten. In Louisville, for all we know, with FedEx,
Louisville,
they could write a check tomorrow if they wanted to.
Memphis,
somebody could decide to do that.
Memphis could. They got that FedEx money. Went to the dollar box to drop a dime. Phone just buffered. What am I doing wrong? I don't know that that's anything you're doing wrong. It could be Xbox. It could be YouTube having the issue. Could be your credit card company that you've got linked on there. I would just cancel out of it and try and do it again if you could. Stormy, and if it keeps giving you issues, let me know and I'll get with YouTube customer support and get it figured out for you. Sometimes I have to get a hold of them and it takes 3 to 4 days, but we usually do get a hold of them. So Timothy Green signing off for the night. Yeah, we're getting pretty close here. We're probably going to sign off at the 1:30 mark, guys. So yeah, thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, anytime, Nathan. Just let us know the article or who wrote it, and we'll take a look at it and see what's going on.
And don't be afraid. That's another thing I need to clarify. Don't be afraid to put stuff out. Sorry if I just want you guys to know we're doing the best we can to filter through the information so you don't have to. But when you guys send us DMs in Twitter or personal messages through the comments on the videos, we chase that crap down. We want you guys to know the best. And there's been several times where we were behind on something and we found it out later. So you guys are our source of information. When we talk about sources, you guys are a lot of the sourcing for stuff.
Yeah,
Ryan
sure.
Willie says, I can't wait till we can talk about football. We can, Ryan. Tune into the members only chat this Wednesday. I'm going to do a season preview of what I think of the Big Ten and where everybody winds up there. So I think you'll dig it. Tune in.
We were trying to.
Yeah,
Yes,
we tried to. It just people come out and make one tweet and then everything goes bananas.
Yeah, and I need to apologize to Ryan because last week I told him we were going to do that on Tuesday. It just happened to be that Monday night, Tuesday morning, the world of Realigned blew up again. So
yeah.
It's not out of ill intent, Ryan. It's just we didn't, the news overtook us a little bit.
Nathan, you're a member. You can get into that chat. If you've been gifted a membership, guys, you can get into that members only chat. It works just the same way. I know you said you had some problems getting into the Miami stream, Nathan, but I can clearly see you're a member within the last week. I don't think you're going to lapse or anything, so you should be fine.
I want to thank. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Moen.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I want to thank somebody for sending me a donation for the college football 25. I've already received one on it was Cash App, so that worked out all right. I appreciate that. I don't know who the name is, so I'm not going to say the initials or anything. I just want to tell you I really appreciate it. And get ready. I'll start playing if you guys are on.
There you go. And as far as that goes, Replica sends word that the Series S has a smaller hard drive, but it shouldn't be an issue unless you plan on playing first-person shooters games, which usually take up more space than any other game.
Okay, so hard drive space is what we're talking about, basically.
There's some graphical things too, but again,
okay, all right.
Again, if you're not looking to push it to the limit like I pushed mine to the limit, you shouldn't have an issue.
I do want it to look good.
It's going to look fine. It'll look fine.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
You won't lag playing that game specifically.
I mean, if you want to spend the extra $200, you absolutely can.
Well, and I might do that on my own, right? Just supplement it. But right now, I guess we'll set a goal at like 225. And if I can get there, then whatever after that, I'll make up the difference. What's this? Stormy Cyclone saying something.
I already covered that.
Oh, did you? I apologize.
Yep.
Okay.
It's all right. SMU, aside from Stanford, probably has the most money. They raised $200 million in about a week. Well, we know that.
It was Carrie O'Knowles that gave me that donation. Thank you, Carrie. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see.
Student athletes. Oh, that is brilliant, sir.
And we'll give you one more. We'll give you a drunk, Joe.
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Jared Jones goes out on a limb and says Ohio State versus Georgia national championship. I'm gonna
I
say
would
that's
love
not the
that.
case. I'm going to say that's not the case. One of them.
I would love that. Who's your championship game?
Oh, I got Ohio State winning it all.
No. Ohio State versus Georgia. That's all.
I don't know who number 2 is.
Oh, okay.
I think like a Missouri can come in there and knock some
What?
people. Yeah, I think Missouri can come in there and knock some people off.
Huh. I don't know about Missouri. That's new to me. I don't think it's Alabama. I don't think it's Florida State, even though they've had a good offseason. Boy, it'd be great to see Miami in there for a TV game. That would be awesome.
Jackson Johnson's joining us a little late. Good to see you, Jackson. Better late than never.
Good to see you here.
Shonsky says, I know you guys said the PAC network is being sold, but I think it might be private equity with the Big 12 and private equity owning a percentage of that network. I can look into that for you, Shonsky, and find out. But last I heard, they were piecing it out and selling equipment.
I'm in LA. You can't get that network right now, so I don't know whether that carriage deal goes.
Right.
But I was going to say, I don't know whether or not those carriage deals can get turned back on if they have content, or if they'd have to go back to all of the cable guys and get a new contract with the new content. I'm thinking it's the latter. I don't know that for sure, but in terms of winding down, they literally did their sign off. So whether they could wind up again because the contracts would just go back, that would depend upon whether those contracts actually had what if we close for a year or two contingency, which I don't really think exists.
Nathan Campbell wants me to go to Michigan. LOL. Only go to Michigan when I need to buy drugs. It's cheaper there.
Why don't you wait a second? Why aren't you right next to West Virginia? I thought that was the.
Well, it's not legal in West Virginia. The drugs.
It's
legal in Michigan. It's legal in Ohio, but
it's rec legal in Michigan.
It's rec legal in Ohio now too, but it's just the prices are outrageous. You can't
because you're a vertically integrated stuff there, so you're getting screwed.
Yeah. Eventually, it'll get better. They say eventually, but Jared Jones says Moen been hitting that crown a little too hard, or maybe not hard enough.
I was gonna say not hard enough would be my guess.
Although on Friday I had to ask Bomber about something we talked about. I remembered we talked about it, but I didn't remember.
Yeah, and that's a problem because there's stuff I don't remember, but it has nothing to do with alcohol. So between two old men, you kind of lose track of some of that data. So what? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say from the Friday show, you mean?
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you guys about that briefly because I didn't get to talk to either of you. Like, I thought the show was great with Flo. I don't know if there was anything specific in that show that you guys took away that was memorable other than just like good conversation.
Flo's a rock star, dude. That guy is just so chill. Great to have on the show. Always brings good vibes. Not a shit talker.
Yeah.
Great show. If you guys didn't catch it, by all means, go back and watch Friday's show with Miami Flo. I think it was one of our better shows.
Both of his shows, 2 or 3 we've had now with him have been fantastic. Yeah. Everybody comments after, says, Flo's awesome, have him on again. I think the thing that is good about him that stands out to me, besides he's so laid back, is that he's pragmatic. He's willing to consider other things happening. And in realignment, especially in social media, that's very unpopular to do. We do it, but there's not many other people that do it. So that's what stood out to me. I thought it was a great show, but what do you think about it, Rock? I'd like to hear your feedback.
Oh, I mean, I obviously I've been dealing with and part of his Discord for a while, so it's I'm inherently biased, even if I get mad at him when he goes to be the very open-minded person on the Big 12 stuff.
Right.
Which I've said the reasons why I had that, which are not anti-Big 12. They're more about like Miami's individual situation.
Absolutely.
From a recruiting perspective against the other two. But the thing I like about Flo, there's not a lot of people out here who are into the realignment stuff and the speculation about it and can tell you hey, there's high school 7-on-7 teams flying on private jets drops,
right?
And actually knows it, not because he's heard it. And there's not a lot of people in that space who can like talk to you about who's going to come up with the top 10 recruiting class and be like one of the first people to talk about, well, I can understand there could be a world of Miami in the Big 12. And that's why I respect it.
That was fascinating. 7-on-7 high school private jets. I mean,
paid for by who, right? And right, exactly. And that's like, there's a Chomsky comment about if it was all about money in Texas to like play into that. It isn't all about money because the narrative that, well, now it's all about money is just incorrect.
right.
Texas has had money forever. A lot of people have had money forever, and they were paying for everything forever. They just weren't doing it in the forms that are public and allowed, right? A lot of schools, not just Texas. I don't mean to signal out Texas, but it's not just about money because you can have a lot of money and mismanage your money and make bad decisions on where to invest it, even in premium players, Kermani McLean, right? So, yeah, it certainly helps though to have the ability to have a lot of money to outbid and outplay. And right now you see Oregon specifically rumored making that big play on the behalf of Phil Knight. But they've also been great at recruiting anyway, right? And they've been performing anyway. They might just be upping it one level.
Ohio State, SMU, Oregon, Miami,
Georgia,
probably Georgia. So
Texas.
that's 5,
Texas,
right? Texas 6.
Oklahoma.
So pretty much all the blue bloods except for SMU, right? And Oregon's not a blue blood, but man, if you're writing checks, you can compete.
Yeah, well, you know SMU's got money because they covered up that one guy killing 5 hookers allegedly.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell
well,
us how that went.
allegedly. It's only allegedly.
Well, apparently they didn't cover it up very well.
Yeah,
That's what I would say. Yes.
well, Texas oil money. You know, somebody told their executive assistant to the assistant regional manager.
Hey, so I'm going to ask you guys a question. Oh, sorry, you got a comment. Do the comment.
Yeah,
I had a question.
41 days until kickoff of week 0, 46 days until week 1, 48 days until kickoff of week 1 Saturday, 49 days until kickoff of USC LSU, and 50 days until Labor Day kickoff between Florida State and Boston College.
It's actually less than 41, hence the 40.
There
But it's
we
by
go.
hours. I'm like anxious. I need to know the hour. I think it's actually like 40 hours, 40 days, 12 hours kind of thing. Yeah, it's going to be great. You know, I personally think the expanded playoff is going to make the season better, not worse. I know others think differently.
I completely
Just
agree with you.
A little over 16 hours till EA College Football 25.
Woo woo. That's awesome. I want to thank Kerry Go Knowles for a donation and Steve Moser when he's able to hook that up. I appreciate you guys very much tonight.
Thank you, guys. TF Williams saying it was a great show on Friday.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It's too bad that you weren't there, Rock. It would have been the 5 of
Yeah,
us.
you don't need 2 Miami guys. You can just have the one who knows everything, as opposed to one who has an opinion on everything.
I love having you on my shows. So maybe that's just selfish me. It doesn't matter what the topic is, because you're so laid back. You're just so, well, and you're so reasonable. Everybody else is so high strung.
Stormy Cyclone says Friday's show was Flo was truthful and everything he said. Also enjoyed teasing the milkman.
Yeah, definitely had that. So,
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious.
So tell me, what did Josh Pate say tonight?
He didn't say crap.
Okay.
I watched the whole show until he started talking about Nebraska's offense. I watched an hour of the show
and it was
didn't
nothing.
Say anything. Nothing.
Well,
at
did
all.
he tease it for tonight?
No, he didn't tease it.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, I thought, going off of what you said, I thought he had teased something. So that's
no. I just said I was going to watch him to see
okay.
if he said anything, but he
all
didn't.
right.
Ryan Willie's just like me. He's counting down the minutes, 17 and a half hours.
I love it. I love it.
Come back here on Tuesday, Ryan, and talk to me. Tell me what you did your first time in it. And I'll be streaming it for everybody at 4:00 tomorrow on Twitch. So
yeah, I'm curious, like what school besides your own is everyone looking forward to playing themselves, putting themselves in the head coach's spot of somebody else for a game or two? Like what team do you want to experiment with? Do you want to see if you can get somebody knocked out of the game fast so you can figure out how fast your team can do it?
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on it because I haven't really been
play against or play with.
Well, play against, but also like play with, and see if you
I'm going to
can
play
how you
against
can
Michigan
exhaust
and Notre-
somebody.
Michigan and Notre Dame first are going to be my first 2 games.
Here we go.
As far as teams to rebuild, I like the idea of rebuilding Georgia Tech. I think that's fun. I think the community would dig something like that, going through all the recruiting for, and building Georgia Tech back up to a powerhouse,
Hey, help me rebuild BYU, you guys.
Well, you got the NIL money. It's certainly not for lack of money.
That's true. Well, I just found out today that there's in the top 50 of all endowments in the country, BYU's in the top 25. They just passed $3 billion in endowments, which is remarkable considering they're not a research organization.
We're going to we're going to wrap this up, guys. That's great to hear about the endowment for BYU. They just ain't putting any of it on the football field.
No. We need Ryan Smith to just write $1 billion check and we'll be set.
Coy, I tried the New Zealand trick on Xbox as well. That was my first thing to do this morning, and it didn't work either.
New Zealand trick?
Yeah, because New Zealand's actually tomorrow.
Oh, so they've already got. Oh, gotcha.
Some games have release dates, but the release date is worldwide tomorrow at 4 p.m. East.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, I did try the New Zealand trick first too to see if it would work.
Boy, that's OG. I remember you used to do that on Call of Duty and tanks.
Yeah.
And
it worked.
Yeah, it did work. Yeah. In fact, I have an account. I have a World of Tanks account actually set up in Argentina, and I can buy stuff for a tenth what it costs in the U.S.
Using a VPN. Don't become Argentinian detractors, guys.
No.
Keep chopping. We're going to end it with this comment. Might try to win a game with Miami while taking a knee. Maybe against Rutgers.
Well, I'll make a deal. Like, as long as we're intellectually consistent, I will acknowledge that Miami played with a full roster against Rutgers the second after Florida State does the same thing for their game against Georgia. Or any other school that took an L during bowl season when people left. I'm happy to do it if everybody else does it. But yes, I guess the expanded coaching thing, I'm all in for it. I'm praying that Mario hires a take a knee timeout dude.
Like a get back coach?
The get back coach, get on your knee, dude, coach. As I alluded to earlier, my hope is not so much that Mario does a little bit better in game day strategy. It's that the talent acquisition makes it so that you can afford more of those errors because you're not on a 3-point deficit or a 7-point lead and you blow a game because you were at least up 14 and you can absorb it. But we shall see. Hence 40 days.
They should hire that guy from Cobra Kai instead of saying sweep the leg. You can say take the knee. Take the knee. All right, guys. Tomorrow
sounds good,
Yep. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, Big West Mafia show right here on the College Football Mafia Network. Bomber and myself will be back on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Big 12 Mafia show, and then Wednesday. Do we know what time we're going to do that members only stream on Wednesday yet, Bomber?
I say unless something changes, I still like 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock Eastern.
8 o'clock East. So look at it.
If news breaks later in the day, we might do it an hour later. But
okay,
yeah, let's stick with 8.
Tentatively 8 p.m. for that sit down members only stream on this Wednesday, and then Big Freaking Friday show 7 Eastern, and we'll see you all here again next Sunday.
All right.
Same mowing time, same mowing channel.
Yeah, we'll see
you.
Till
then, peace out.